Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays Doki Doki Literature Club, an 820,000 subscriber special. I will reiterate what I always do. If you are sensitive, if you have a history of anxiety or depression, the game recommends you do not continue watching. I recommend the same. If you're watching this with your kids, what the heck are you doing? Do it to your kids in their 20s? I hope so. Otherwise, please, for the love of God, exercise some restraint. For now, though, let's continue, shall we, with that warning in place. It looks great. Good thinking coming up with this doorway curtain, Yuri. Ah, thanks. It's just something I saw online, really. Are you ready to move on to the next task? Yes, let's do it. What do you have in mind? I'd like to create a banner. That's why I asked you to buy the paint tablets. Ah, that's right. One of the items Yuri had asked me to buy was a kit of watercolor paint tablets. We'll need about 6 cups of water to put each of the tablets in. Is Sprite okay? Do you mind fetching those for us? Of course not. 6 cups of water. I'll be right back in a minute. Thank you very much. Oh, and just a little bit of water is okay. If you fill the cups too much, it will be too diluted. 6 cups of water that are not full. All right, here we go. Oh, she doesn't mean 6 cups like 6 250 milliliter servings. She means like 6 containers. Okay. Taking Yuri's advice, I decided to use small plastic bathroom cups rather than full-size glasses. I put them on a plate to catch any paint that drips and then bring it back into my room. Yuri? Yes? I come in to see Yuri quickly unrolling her sleeve, pulling it back over her arm. Ah, nothing. Your face is a little red. Is it too hot in here or anything? Ah, no, not at all. I'm just a vampire who drank your blood. There's nothing wrong, so let's mix the paint. Yuri hurriedly dismisses me and takes it upon herself to unwrap the tablets, dropping them into the cups. So, I thought we would do something simple that would look very nice. I'd like to paint a gradient across the banner. What the heck, lady? This is what I got Creative Cloud for. Starting with the colors for a sunrise, then daytime, then sunset, then nighttime. Once it dries, I'll write an inspirational quote across the banner. It is what it is. Yuri 2020. We can hang it on the wall behind the podium at the front of the classroom. Ah, neat. What are you going to write? Well, it will be more fun to surprise you. Yuri smiles at me. If you say so. After rolling out the banner, Yuri and I kneel on opposite sides so we don't get in the way of each other. Yuri uses a brush and adds a few dots of different colors across the banner to serve as a color guide when we paint. This kind of reminds me of elementary school. Painting on a banner with watercolors feels a lot like the art class projects we had back then. It's relaxing. Ah, I'm sorry if this feels too childish. No, I didn't mean that at all. It's kind of fun, you know? Yeah. It is fun. I'm glad you feel that way too. Yuri stops painting for a moment, thinking to herself, for me, I don't need to go out and do crazy things to have fun. I'm not like other girls. In fact, I usually don't even want to. Just me, a tall glass of wine, 10 seasons of Supernatural. I just like when I can spend time with one other person. Even if it's something simple like reading, it doesn't even matter if we don't talk much. Just having a friend next to me makes things feel a little bit nicer. I think that's all it takes for me to be happy. Is that so? Even if Yuri and I are quite different, I can understand where she's coming from. I feel that way about things like anime and games, where simply sharing the experience with somebody can make me happy. Or my favorite YouTuber's videos. Germa. I think I feel the same way. Yuri smiles gently. I knew you'd understand. Yuri leans over the banner to grab an unused paintbrush, but I move at the same time, causing my head to bump into hers. Kia! Sorry. Yuri reels back, and I quickly lift my hands in surprise. Are you hurt? No, I'm not hurt. It just startled me, that's all. Sorry, I should have asked you to get it for me. It's not your fault. Ah, your face. There are droplets of paint on Yuri's face and neck. Is there something on my face? Yeah, I accidentally got paint on you. Sorry, it's totally my fault. I'll get a towel right away. I rush out and fetch a small towel, then dampen it with hot water. I return to my room and kneel back down in front of her. I had a feeling something like this was coming. Here. I pat down Yuri's face and neck with the towel. Ah, is something wrong? It's hot. I just didn't expect it. Sorry. I didn't want to use cold water. Having finished, I start to retract my hand, but Yuri suddenly holds my wrist. Wait. Eh? Just for a little longer. It feels really nice. Dude, I'm telling you, at any moment, her elbows are going to shoot out swords, or she's going to utter, like, you know, you ever see that Korean webcomic where you're reading it and it's like static and then you get to one spot and the thing crawls at you? That's what I'm worried is going to happen in this game. They're lulling me, and I'm very media literate. Not necessarily smart, but I consume a lot of media in my days, right? The game is building this box around you where you think you're playing by the rules. They're going to give you text. They're going to give you, dialogue. How scary could anything be? But at any given moment, they could shatter the bounds of the game. They could break their own rules. I'm telling you, somebody's going to get their head chopped off with a sword. I keep my hand still against Yuri's neck. She looks into my eyes. It's an intense expression that I recognize from when she reads her books, almost as if she's lost in a daze, enveloped by her own thoughts. She breathes gently, half through slightly parted lips. What is happening? Is it the aroma of the jasmine oil giving me this dizzy feeling? Yuri's gentle fingers wrapped around my wrists send a tingling sensation through my arm. And suddenly her face seems much closer to mine than it was just a moment ago. Yuri slowly pulls away. Sorry. I've been feeling a little lightheaded today. I didn't mean to space out. It's fine. The moment is over as soon as it began. Yuri picks up her brush again, but her movements seem clumsier, like she's unable to focus. I remain silent, forced to ignore the event that just transpired. Bro, you gotta get her into a dark room. She's gotta go into the concussion protocol. I hesitantly retrieve my own brush and continue following Yuri's example. That should do it. I finish filling the night sky with white dots that look like stars. Looking at the banner as a whole, it's very pretty and natural looking. I think it came out better than I expected. I'm really happy with the results. Yeah, me too. Are you gonna add the lettering now? Not yet. It needs to dry first. That's true, but won't that take a while? Well, perhaps it would be best to leave it here than have you bring it in the morning. I can do the lettering in the classroom before our event starts. Is that okay? That's totally fine. Wonderful. In that case, I don't think there's anything more for us to do here. Phew. You say that like you're glad it's over. Was I wrong to assume you were at least enjoying yourself a little bit? Yo, it ain't like that. I've just been holding in a fart the whole time you've been here. I'm just glad we managed to get everything done. I see. I am too. I was a little concerned about time. I need to start making dinner soon. So you don't have any time left? I was secretly hoping we would have extra time after finishing the work. Well, Yuri thinks to herself. I think it would be too irresponsible of me to wait too much longer. I'm sorry. I was hoping there would be more time as well. It's probably my fault. Sorry for being such a slow worker. No, it's not your fault at all. And the important thing is we got everything done, right? Yeah, so I shouldn't be disappointed or anything. Gathering all of her things, Yuri seems to be a little downcast. I understand why. It sounded like she rarely gets the opportunity to spend time with friends in a relaxed environment. But that doesn't mean this is the last time it can happen. Once Yuri packs up, I walk her out the front door. Thank you very much for having me today. No problem. I'm glad I was able to help or whatever. Just let me know if there's anything else you need me to bring for tomorrow. I will. Well then, Yuri fidgets. I guess I'll see you tomorrow. Wait! I kind of say that without thinking. About today. It's fine that we didn't have as much time as we wanted because we can do this again. Whenever you want, you can come over or we can go out somewhere. I forgot you don't like going out much. As I stumble over my words, Yuri simply smiles bashfully. Anyway, you know what I'm trying to say, so you're very thoughtful, Ryan. Yuri takes a step closer to me, then briefly squeezes my hand. I kind of like that about you. Yo, back it up, lady. 6 feet, 2 meters. But get your mask on. I'm just waiting for her eyes to shoot laser beams. Well, how am I supposed to respond to that? But I don't even get a chance to as Yuri suddenly pulls back. Sayori? Eh? Ah! Hi, Ryan. Sayori. Just now, we weren't. It's okay. I just stopped by to say hi. Well, it's nice to see you. I'm sorry, but I'm already on my way to leave. Oh, really? That's too bad. I'm sorry, but we'll all be together at the festival tomorrow, so that's fine, right? Of course. Sayori beams. Yeah, so I'll see you tomorrow. Clearly embarrassed, Yuri hurries off. Sayori waves goodbye after her. Sayori! I thought you didn't want to come over today. Well, I tried staying in my room, but my imagination was being really mean to me. So I had to come here and see it for myself. See what? What are you talking about? You know, how much fun you were having with Yuri, and how close you got to her. It makes me really happy that you've made such good friends. That's all that matters to me. Tears start to fall down Sayori's face. That's all that matters to me. Why am I feeling this way, Ryan? I'm supposed to be happy for you. Why does it feel like my heart is splitting in half? It hurts so much. Everything hurts so much. This would be so much better if I could just disappear. Sayori, don't say that. It's true, Ryan. If I wasn't here, then you wouldn't have to waste your sympathy on me. It's really just a click of the button, Sayori. You don't have to get down on yourself like that. You wouldn't have to put up with me being selfish. Monika was right. I should just... Excuse me. What did Monika say to you? Here I thought Monika was just a nice lady who also has a name like a squid. And she's saying stuff that could get her own HBO miniseries. Monika was right about what? Sayori, what I said before is true. I'm not going to let this continue. Caring about you like this isn't the burden your mind is making it out to be. It's something that makes me happy. It's something that I wouldn't trade for anything else. So even if it takes an entire lifetime, I'm going to be by your side till you don't feel any more pain. But Sayori looks away. Put a hand on her shoulder to reassure her. I'm scared, Ryan. I'm really scared. What are you scared of, Sayori? I'm scared that I might like you more than you like me. Sayori, soon after this, you're going to go to college. You're going to meet all sorts of cool guys that are going to make me look like a dweeb. And you're not going to be worried about this such stuff anymore. And then 2 decades from now, you're going to look back on this moment and you're going to be like, why was I so hung up on that guy? He was just a playboy anyway. Sayori, it's true, isn't it? I was weak and started to like you too much. I did this to myself. Ryan, I like you so much that I want to die. That's taking it too far. That's how I feel. And then, that's enough, Sayori. I don't want you to hurt anymore. I slide my hand down Sayori's arm and squeeze her hand in my own. Do you remember how I said I always know what's best for you? Do you still believe me? Wordlessly, Sayori nods. Even if you don't understand all your own feelings, I know what you need the most right now, and that's what I'm going to give to you. This feels like a big decision. That's a really tough one. I mean, straight up, you got to start right here. But then secondarily, I mean, it's a tough decision, right? You could tell her what maybe she wants to hear. Or you could give her some realistic support that is like, I'm always going to be part of your support network. You'll always be my dearest friend. What you need the most is for things to be like they've always been. Monika told me the truth. She told me how much happier you seemed after I joined the club. I know you're struggling with some really difficult feelings right now, but please trust me that I know what's best and what will make you happy in the end. I promise I'll help things get back to the way they were. I see. Sayori forces a smile through an incredibly pained expression. Ahaha, is this what it feels like to get stabbed in the chest? I should write a poem about this. Sayori, it's okay. This is just my punishment, remember? For being so selfish. So please don't worry about these stupid feelings. I know you're right. I knew this whole time that there's no happiness down that path. That's why I came here, just so I could get the answer I needed to hear. And the other thing, you're also right that I just wanted to go back to the way it was. I realize that now. You really do know me better than anyone, Ryan. I'll trust you with anything. Anything at all. So... Sayori's smile finally breaks. All of a sudden, she turns around and drops to her knees. Ah! Clutching her head with both hands. She screams as loudly as she can. I'm so shocked that I don't know how to react. She looks over her shoulder and flashes me one more weak smile before turning around and running off. Well, this has bad vibes written all over it. I'm left helplessly standing in the front of my house. Why am I feeling so horrible about this? There's nothing more I could have done. The most I can do is support Sayori through her feelings and help her on the path that's right. But I'm having as much trouble understanding Sayori's feelings as she is, even though I can comfort her. I keep wondering if I should be doing something more or something different. I know these thoughts will continue to plague me until things are back to the way they were. I'm going to give it everything I've got. Sayori will always be my dearest friend, and I'll do whatever it takes to put a smile on her face every day. Probably could have eased off on the jokes earlier in the series, but it's the day of the festival. Of all days, I expected this to be the one where I'd be walking to school with Sayori. This is bad vibes written all over it. But Sayori isn't answering her phone. I considered going to her house to wake her up, but decided that's a little too much. Meanwhile, the preparations for the event should be nearly complete. The banner Yuri and I painted is dry, and I gently rolled it up to take it with me. She sent me a pleasant text reminding me not to forget anything, and I reassured her. Funnily enough, I probably feel the same way as Natsuki about the event. I'm more excited for it to be over so I can spend time with Sayori and Yuri at the festival. But knowing Monika, I'm sure the event will be great too. I don't know anything about Monika. Ryan, you're the first one here. Silence. I don't want to hear anything out of your mouth, you snake. Thanks for being early. That's funny. I thought at least Yuri would be here by now. Monica is placing little booklets on each of the desks in the classroom. Hey, where's my jaunty music? Where's my... I'm scared. The music has never come back. They must be the ones she prepared that have all the poems we're performing. In the end, I found a random poem online that I thought Monica would like and submitted it. There once was a man from Nantucket. So that's the one I'll be performing. I'm surprised you didn't bring Sayori with you. Yeah, she overslept again. That dummy. You'd think that on days this important, she'd try a little harder. I say that, but I suddenly remembered what Sayori told me yesterday. And I suddenly feel awful knowing it's not nearly that simple for her. Well, that's growth. I only said it because it's the way I'm used to thinking, but maybe I should have gone to wake her up after all. You should take a little responsibility for her, Ryan. I mean, especially after your exchange with her yesterday. How do you know all this? There's some kind of female collective knowledge. You're dipping your ladle in and getting a full glass of gossip. You kind of left her hanging this morning, you know? Exchange? Monica, you know about that? Monica, you are evil. You think I don't pick up on your wordplay, Monica? I'm the club president, after all. But, I stammer, embarrassed. Did Sayori really tell her about it that quickly? About how I basically turned down her confession? That makes me seem like the bad guy here. But I'm the one who knows what's best for her, right? Jeez, you don't know the full story at all, so don't worry. I probably know a lot more than you think. Huh? Monica's being as friendly as usual, but for some reason I felt a chill down my spine after hearing that. Hey, do you want to check out the pamphlets? They came out really nice. Yeah, sure. I grabbed one of the pamphlets laid out on the desks. Oh yeah, they really did. Something like this will definitely help people take the club more seriously. Yeah, I thought so too. I flipped through the pages. Each member's poem is neatly printed on its own page, giving it an almost professional feel. I recognized Natsuki's and Yuri's poems from the one they performed during our practice. What's this? I flipped to Sayori's poem. It's different from the one she practiced. It's one I haven't read before. Just says, get out of my head many times, followed by, get out of my head before I do what I know is best for you. Get out of my head before I listen to everything she said to me. Get out of my head before I show you how much I love you. Get out of my head before I finish writing this poem. But a poem is never actually finished. It just stops moving. Ah, what is this? Reading the poem, I get a pit in my stomach. Ryan, what's wrong? Ah, nothing. This poem feels completely different from everything else Sayori's written. But more than that, I changed my mind. I'm going to go get Sayori, so... Ah, well, all right. Try not to take too long, okay? I don't like this lady anymore. She's giving me some nasty vibes. I quickly leave the classroom. Don't strain yourself, Monica calls that out after me. I quicken my pace. What was I thinking? Yo, can I just say something before we move on? First off, obviously the sensitivity warning is in play, for one. But the game has done a really good job of creating a very tense and emotional atmosphere after, and it's like I said in the last episode, after getting you into a false sense of security earlier, and you're like, it baits the hook just long enough for you to forget that you're playing a game that you know is subversive. You get used to the good vibes, you get used to having some quips, and now all of a sudden, we got to change emotional tracks to something that I'm assuming is going to be pretty traumatic. So prepare yourself. I should have tried a little harder for Sayori. It's not a big deal to at least wait for her or help her wake up. Even the simplest gesture of walking her to school makes her really happy. Besides, I told her yesterday that things will be the same as they've always been. That's all she needs and what I want to give her. I reach Sayori's house and knock on the door. I don't expect an answer since she's not picking up her phone either. Like yesterday, I open the door and let myself in. Sayori? She really is a heavy sleeper. I swallow. I can't believe I ended up doing this after all. Waking her up in her own house? Isn't that more like something a boyfriend would do? You cannot take down my fortress of alarm now by trying to disarm me there. It just feels right. Outside Sayori's room, I knock on her door. Sayori? Wake up, dummy. There's no response. I really didn't want to have to enter a room like this. Isn't this kind of a breach of privacy? But she really leaves me no choice. I gently open the door. I had the sneaking suspicion that this might indeed be the case. And they're playing around with the media just like I told you. I knew that we were going to get some vision or some gifts or some Psycho Mantis stuff. ... What the hell? What the hell? Is this a nightmare? It has to be. This isn't real. There's no way this can be real. Sayori wouldn't do this. Everything was normal until up a few days ago. That's why I can't believe what my eyes are showing me. I suppressed the urge to vomit. Just yesterday, I told Sayori I would be there for her. I told her I know what's best and that everything will be okay. Then why? Why would she do this? How could I be so helpless? What did I do wrong? Turning down her confession? That has to be what pushed her over the edge. Now, I don't mean to absolve myself of responsibility. We didn't turn down her confession. We told her we would always be her best friend. We didn't lie to her. Yo, the game's even got me questioning myself. Her agonized scream still echoes in my ears. Why did I do that to her when she needed me the most? Why was I so selfish? This is my fault. My swarming thoughts keep telling me everything I could have done to prevent this. If I just spent more time with her, walked her to school, and gave her what I know she wanted out of our relationship, then I could have prevented this. I know I could have prevented this. Screw the literature club. Screw the festival. I just lost my best friend, someone I grew up with. She's gone forever now. Nothing I do can bring her back. This isn't some game where I can reset and try something different. I had only one chance and I wasn't careful enough, and now I'll carry this guilt with me until I die. Nothing in my life is worth more than hers. That's very unfortunate, more than hers. But I still couldn't do what she needed from me. What a terrible time for a terrible misspeak. And now, I can never take it back. Never, 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 never. And no, I don't believe you. I'll click on the cursed button. I see an annoying girl running towards me from the distance, waving her arms in the air as if she's totally oblivious to any attention she might draw to herself. That girl is my neighbor and good friend since we were children. You know, the kind you'd never see yourself making today, but it just kind of works out because you've known each other for so long. We used to walk to school together on days like this, but starting around high school, she would oversleep more and more frequently, and I would get tired of waiting up. But if she's going to chase after me like this, I almost feel better off running away. However, I just sigh and idle in front of the crosswalk and let her catch up to me. Oh my god. It's an ordinary school. Okay, so I see. We're starting over from zero again. There's always the anime club, but it's not like there would be any girls in it anyway. The school day is as ordinary as ever. As I packed up my things, I stare blankly at the wall, looking for an ounce of motivation. Clubs? There really aren't any that interest me. Besides, most of them would probably be way too demanding for me to want to deal with. I guess I have no choice but to start with the anime club. Monica? Oh my goodness, I totally didn't expect to see you here. It's been a while, right? I avert my gaze. Her feminine wiles have no effect on me. As I know the true evil that lies inside of her, I say whatever and make my way to the door. Monica smiles sweetly. We do know each other. Well, we rarely talked, but we were in the same class last year. Monica was probably the most popular girl in class. Smart, beautiful, athletic, basically completely out of my league. So having her smile at me so genuinely feels a little... What did you come in here for anyway? Oh, I've just been looking for some supplies to use for my club. Do you know if there's any construction paper in here or markers? I guess you could check the closet. You're in the debate club, right? Haha, about that. I actually quit the debate club. Really? You quit? Yeah. To be honest, I can't stand all the politics around the major clubs. Feels like nothing but arguing about the budget and publicity and how to prepare for events. I'd much rather take something I personally enjoy and make something special out of it. In that case, what club did you decide to join? Actually, I'm starting a new one. A literature club. Literature? That sounds kind of dull. How many members do you have so far? It's kind of embarrassing, but there's only 3 of us so far. It's really hard to find new members for something that sounds so boring. Well, I can see that. But it's really not boring at all, you know. Literature can be anything. Reading, writing, poetry. I mean, one of my members even keeps her manga collection in the club room. Wait, really? Yeah, it's funny, right? She always insists that manga is literature, too. I mean, she's not wrong, I guess. And besides, a member's a member, right? Did Monica say she? Hey, Ryan. By any chance, are you still looking for a club to join? I mean, I guess so, but in that case, is there any chance you could do me a big favor? I won't ask you to join, but if you could at the very least visit my club, it would make me really happy. Please? Well, I guess I have no reason to refuse. Besides, how could I ever refuse someone like Monica? Sure, I guess I could check it out. Awesome. You're really sweet, Ryan. You know that? Don't try to charm me. Shall we go then? I'll look for the materials another time. You're more important. And thus, today marks the day I sold my soul to Monica and her irresistible smile. I timidly follow Monica across the school and upstairs, a section of the school I rarely visit, being generally used for third-year classes and activities. Monica, full of energy, swings open the classroom door. I'm back. And I brought a guest with me. Oh my god. A guest? Seriously? You brought a boy? Way to kill the atmosphere. Don't be mean, Natsuki. But anyway, welcome to the club, Ryan. All words escape me in this situation. This club is full of incredibly cute girls. So let me guess, you're Monica's boyfriend, right? What? No, I'm not. In fact, I quite honestly don't care for her. I don't know if what we just experienced was in a dream, or if this is a dream, or if... I guess we're gonna find out. The girl with the sour attitude, whose name is apparently Natsuki, is one I don't recognize. Her small figure makes me think she's probably a first year. Anyway, this is Natsuki, energetic as usual. And this is Yuri, the vice president. It's nice to meet you. Yuri, who appears comparably more mature and timid, seems to have a hard time keeping up with someone like Natsuki. Yeah, it's nice to meet both of you. In some ways. So I ran into Ryan in a classroom, and he decided to come check out the club. Isn't that great? Wait, Monica. Didn't I tell you to let me know in advance before you brought someone new so I could make cupcakes? I was gonna, well, you know. Sorry. I didn't forget that. I just happened to run into him. In that case, I should at least make some tea, right? Yeah, that would be great. Why don't you come sit down, Ryan? The girls have a few desks arranged to form a table. Yuri walks to the corner of the room and opens the closet. Meanwhile, Monica and Natsuki sit across from each other. Still feeling awkward, I take a seat next to Monica. So I know you didn't really plan on coming here, but we'll make sure you feel right at home, okay? As president of the literature club, it's my duty to make the club fun and exciting for everybody. I'm surprised there aren't more people in the club yet. It must be hard to start a new club. You could put it that way. Not many people are very interested in putting all the effort to start something brand new, especially when it's something that doesn't grab your attention like literature. You have to work hard to convince people that you're both fun and worthwhile. But it makes school events like the festival that much more important. I'm confident we can all really grow this club before we graduate. Right, Natsuki? Well, I guess. Natsuki reluctantly agrees. Such different girls, all interested in the same goal. Monica must have worked really hard just to find these two. Yuri returns to the table carrying a tea set. She carefully places a teacup in front of each of us before setting down the teapot in the middle. You keep a whole tea set in this class? Come on! Get to the... Don't tease me, DDLC! Don't worry, the teachers gave us permission. After all, doesn't a hot cup of tea help you enjoy a good book? I guess. Don't let yourself get intimidated. Yuri's just trying to impress you. That's not insulted. Yuri looks away. I meant that, you know, I believe you. Well, tea and reading, yeah. So, Ryan, what kinds of things do you like to read? Well, considering how little I've read these past few years, I don't really have a good way of answering that. Manga. I mutter quietly to myself, half joking. Natsuki's head suddenly perks up. It looks like she wants to say something, but she just keeps quiet. Not much of a reader, I guess. Well, that can change. What am I saying? I spoke without thinking after seeing Yuri's sad smile. Anyway, what about you, Yuri? Well, let's see. Yuri traces the rim of her teacup with her finger. My favorites are usually novels that build deep and complex fantasy worlds. The level of creativity and craftsmanship behind them is amazing to me, and telling a good story in such a foreign world is equally impressive. Yuri goes on, clearly passionate about her reading. She seems so reserved and timid since the moment I walked in, but it's obvious by the way her eyes light up that she finds her comfort in the world of books, not people. But you know, I like a lot of things. Stories with deep psychological elements immerse me as well. Isn't it amazing how a writer can so deliberately take advantage of your own lack of imagination to throw you for a loop? Anyway, I've been reading a lot of horror lately. I read a horror book once. I desperately grasped something I can relate to at the minimum level. Yuri might as well be having a conversation with a rock. I'd expect that from you, Yuri. It suits your personality. Oh, is that so? Really, if a story makes you think or takes me to another world, then I really can't put it down. Surreal horror is often very successful at changing the way you look at the world, if only for a brief moment. I hate horror. Oh, why is that? Well, Natsuki's eyes dart over to me for a split second. Never mind. That's right, you usually like to write about cute things, don't you, Natsuki? What? What gives you that idea? You left a piece of scrap paper behind last meeting. It looked like you were working on a poem called Don't Say It Out Loud and Give That Back. Fine. Natsuki, you write your own poems? Yeah, well, I guess sometimes. Why do you care? I think that's impressive. Why don't you share them sometime? No! Natsuki averts her eyes. You wouldn't like them. Not a very confident writer yet? I understand how Natsuki feels. Sharing that level of writing takes much more than just confidence. The truest form of writing is writing to oneself. You must be willing to open up to your readers, exposing your vulnerabilities and showing even the deepest reaches of your heart. Do you have writing experience, Yuri? Maybe if you share some of your work, you can set an example and help her share some of hers. I guess it's the same for Yuri. We all sit in silence for a moment. Hey, I just got an idea. Zip it! How about this? Natsuki and Yuri look quizzically at Monika. Let's all go home and write a poem of our own, then next time we meet, we'll all share them with each other. That way everyone's on the same page. I thought it was a good idea. Well, I think you're right, Monika. We should probably start planning activities for all of us to participate in together. I did decide to take on the responsibility of vice president. After all, I need to do my best to nurture the club as well as its members. Besides, now that we have a new member, it seems like a good step for us to take. Do you agree as well, Ryan? Hold on. There's still one problem. What's that? Now that we've reached the most important topic, I bluntly come forth with what's been on my mind the entire time. I never said I would join this club. Monika may have convinced me to stop by, but I never made any decision. I still have other clubs to look at, and I lose my train of thought. All three girls stare back at me with dejected eyes. But, I'm sorry, I thought, The girls exchange glances before Monika turns back to me. I guess I need to tell you the truth, Ryan. The thing is, we don't have enough members yet to form an official club. We need 4, and I've been trying really, really hard to find new members. If we don't find one more before the festival, I'm defenseless against these girls. How am I supposed to make a clear-headed decision when it's like this? It would feel terrible. I would feel terrible for letting everyone down in this situation. And besides, the club seems pretty relaxed, so if writing poems is the price I need to pay in order to spend every day with these beautiful girls, right. Okay, I've decided then. I'll join the literature club. One by one, the girls' eyes light up. Oh my goodness, really? Do you really mean that? Yeah, it could be fun, right? You really did scare me for a moment. I mean, if you just left after all this, I'd be super PO'd. Okay. Sure, congratulations, but also, we'll go home, write the poem. Ryan, I look forward to seeing how you express yourself. I'm perturbed. Okay, I'm leaving. I'll see you tomorrow then. I can't wait. With that, I depart the club room and make my way home. I'm gonna hit you with a save, for now. And I'm very confused with where we're at in the game, but that's okay. It's by design. Thanks for watching. Again, we went through some heavy stuff here, but I'm very, very intrigued by the game. I think it handles it in a way that's very interesting. Anyway, similar content exists in like Life is Strange Episode 1, and it hit me there too. Like, I'm affected by it. But this is the way that they're kind of playing around with your perception of reality in this is very interesting as well. And, you know, is hitting you with some Marshall McLuhan, the medium is the message sort of vibes. But I'm actually not just eager to see where it goes, but I'm like having a good time, which is something that I might have expected, that this is more like a punishment for me that was enjoyable for other people to watch. But I'm very impressed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. See ya!